Hi guys, I'm Jen Long, Head of Product Design at Sizzix, and I'm here to share some exciting news with you as I'm introducing a new brand from Sizzix called Sizzix Studio and a new collaboration with the fine art company Royal Talens. Now, Sizzix is known as a leader in innovation and a powerhouse in our industry for developing tools and accessories that really enhance creativity and empower makers. But when you take these tools and accessories and apply them to fine art techniques and mixed media techniques, the results are truly amazing. And the surfaces, paints, and mediums from Royal Talens pair perfectly with our Sizzix tools and accessories, and I'm going to show you how easy it is to use them all together. Okay, so first thing, let's take a look at this packaging because you may recognize our Sizzix logo here, but we've completely refreshed the packaging look and feel to have more of a traditional approach to fine art and mixed media look. So we have, a painterly project on the front, some really nice step outs, but you may recognize this tool, and let's actually jump ahead and actually look at the tool out of the box. This is what some of you may recognize as the stencil and stamp tool, but we have repurposed this to now be the Sizzix registration press tool. This is an innovative and multi-purpose tool. So your lid functions as a stamp press and is removable. And this helps you align your stencils as these little holes here align to the hinge in the base of the tool. So you can hook on your stencils to these little pegs and actually move them around on your hinge depending on where in your work area you want to work. And the base of the tool works with a sticky grid sheet. And the way this works is it has removable adhesive on both sides. So you peel off one side and you can set that aside. So the side without a grid is what you're going to actually adhere to the base of the tool. And this is removable and replaceable. And you peel off the top part. And you want to kind of save that, set it aside so when you're done you can put it back on just so you don't get any dust on there and you can maintain your adhesive. But this is really nice in holding paper, but also holds your sketchbooks and canvases in place. And speaking of sketchbooks and canvases, let's take a look at the newest really addition to the Sizzix Studio family, and that is the Hinge Adapter. So this was developed specifically to work with the registration press tool. This aligns right on top of your hinge area, and this gives you that depth you need to work with thicker materials like your canvases and your sketchbooks, in addition to being able to work with flat surfaces like paper. And this, again, it works with the lid, it works with the stencil converter, so your possibilities are endless. And I just want to get started and show you how to work with all this stuff. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my Royal Talens Art Creation sketchbook, and as I said, the sticky grid holds that in place, and I'm just going to plop that down onto my sticky grid, push it, and that's really going to hold it in place. And let's talk about the stencil and stamp sets that are included. So we have 8 total sets that are included, and we've onboarded 2 new and exciting licensed artists for this program, Kat Kerr and Vic Hollins, and both of them are already ambassadors for Royal Talens, so it was a perfect fit for them to come in and start working with us. And both of them designed 4 sets of combination stencil and stamp sets. So let's take a look at what's inside, because I think it's an incredible value, so I really do want to show you what you get. Again, we're working with that brand new packaging look and feel, so we have the traditional Sizzix logo with a fresh, refreshed packaging that kind of aligns to that fine art mixed media look. You can see everything's been done in paint, so it is very fun and exciting. And what you get in this set, you get a 5x7 stamp set, and you get 3 layering stencil sets. All of this come together for $22.99, so it's an incredible amount of value for you guys. And you have a ton of versatility in this, because if you look at how the stencils were designed, there are registration holes all the way along the sides. So you're not limited to just having the registration holes on top. You can actually rotate this, flip it around, and put it any way you want. So you're not really copying what's on the front of packaging. You're getting a tool to let you kind of create the composition that you see best. So you can see how the holes kind of align to the stencil converter. And that just, gives you a ton of options and versatility. Okay, so before we get into the demo and I open all these up and start to use them, let's take a look at all of the designs by Vic and Kat. So the first one up, this is called Retro by Vic, And again, we have 3 stencil sets and 1 5x7 stamp set. You can see the nice example that Vic's done here on the front of packaging. And we do have these QR codes on every single packaging, from the stencil stamp sets to the tools and accessories, that are leading back to our hub for more education and inspiration across the range. Okay, but back to looking at the art examples. I have all of my art journals here. I do have these all marked out with tabs just so I can find where they were, but look at how cool the retro set looks. I love that this was done at an angle. I think my friend Pete Hughes did these ones. And then, you know, that nice juxtaposition on the side of the straight angle set. And it's cool that he used just like a portion of the stencil. You don't have to lay the whole thing down and use it. I love that little kitty cat stamp set. Super cute. And then let's look at this one again. Really cool how you can see such a nice difference in just using different colors and different compositions, using the flower stamps and really fading those stencils out is a really nice touch. I also love how there's a whole layer of paint in the background. So you can start, you know, by dry brushing or getting your acrylic on there and letting it dry, and then go on and start to stencil and stamp on top of that. That's a really nice way to kind of spice that up and get a really intricate look and feel. So the next one we're going to look at is the geometric set. So the geometric set, again, 3 really nice stencils and a stamp set that works together. But these stencils are a little bit different because these actually layer together to create a unique design as opposed to being individual stencils. And again, the stamp sets, super clever in how they were designed, because that gives you a nice gradation of color in a large size and a small size, and then some of just your classic retro shapes that are always so popular. So here, this is kind of our main geometric set here. So again, really nice in how you can see the stencil set being used. Love the dark color and how that was used. And then layering some of those purple stamp sets on top of that. Just really, really fun. And then the intricate set. So this is the most intricate stencil set I've ever seen. And again, these layer all together to be used on top of each other, and just has a beautiful look of those kind of Victorian scrollish things in that 5x7 stamp set that pair so nicely with that intricate stencil set. Some of the ones here, just a beautiful way to give a versatility and background. The stamps on top of the layering stencils. Oh my goodness, that's just beautiful. We can look at another example. Again, you can see how just a difference in color palette gives you a completely different look and feel. And then let me grab my other book here. We have one more set here. Of course, I just missed that. Oh, look, there's a geometric set and the intricate one here. Again, really just nice versatility and color and value. And then lastly, we have the nature set. And my absolute favorite nature set example is this. Well, let's show you the stencils first. So we have stencils, and again, these are unique in that they're broken up into 3 different sections. So you can get different wood grains along the top, or you can use the bottom in isolation and get that really nice, kind of looks like a wildflower in a meadow kind of arrangement. And then the stamp sets, you have the really nice pebbles, you have the detailed pine branches, your traditional kind of butterfly and bee, and the really nice, almost Art Nouveau looking flowers. So I love that. This is an example that Vic actually did herself. So I love the kind of watercolor look and feel that that has. And I have one more example from Pete. And what I love here is just the different textures that Pete was able to incorporate in the background, and using that stamp set and then the other stamp set together. Just a beautiful all over design. So tons of value and versatility in these. These can be mixed and matched to work together. I'd say especially the retro one and the geometric one would pair so nicely together, just to give you guys a little bit extra content to work with. First up, now this is a really fun name that I know means a lot to her, and she even included it in the stamp set, and it is Ikigai. And this has 3 stencil sets. These are kind of more independent. They still layer on top of each other. I love how they look layered on top of each other. And this stamp set, this is a monster of a stamp. It's a full silhouette head with this beautiful mountain range in the background. Also this beautiful intricate stamp. These two just pair so beautifully together. Let's take a look at some of the projects. So I have a couple that Kat made here. And then again, you can see just using a different color palette, how she got a completely different look and feel. But let's look at some that Pete made. So here, I love how he kind of put this off to the side so you have more of an asymmetrical composition. I love how he kind of made this a more distressed background, and again, just use the stamps to layer on top of each other. But also, don't forget how cool those elements can be used in isolation. You don't always need that focal point of a head. Here is that beautiful, intricate design here on the side, and again, layered with some of the stamps and stencils together on that rough background. Super, super cool. The next one we are going to look at is called Create. So I do have a couple examples from Kat in here on Create. So I think we kind of flip orientation a little bit here, but here is a green version. And again, here is a blue version where she's colored the background and then masked out some of the color wheel stuff. And let's take a look at the stencils and stamps so you have a better idea of what's going on in here. We have 3 different stencils. Really nice star design. This reminds me of sprinkles, and then some paint blobs, because really maybe it's not easy to just make your own paint blob. It's kind of intimidating sometimes to know if you're doing it the right way. So these kind of give you an opportunity to blend your paint on a little more of a focused approach. And then we have this cool color wheel. I love a good color wheel. Some sentiments and phrases, a really nice artistic phrase. And all these paired together really create some interesting looks. So we'll look at what Pete did here. Look at that beautiful, beautiful bronze color and how that works so nicely, just to kind of give you a different look and feel from an example that Kat did. And again, you don't need that focal point of the color wheel if you just want to use something fun and interesting like that. And I think that's it for that one. And then one more example in here. Oh, what a nice color palette that is. That's just dreamy. Again, love how you kind of give that color block in the background and then stamp right on top of it. So much versatility in how these sets can be used. That's amazing. And then we are going to look at the Visitor. I love this stamp set. This corner stamp set with all the flowers is just beautiful. The bird is just iconic, the eyeball, the butterflies, and this phrase here, it just has such a beautiful kind of antique look to it. Pairs nicely with these 3 beautiful stencils that give you kind of your basic foundational shapes. And let's look at some of the examples. First, let's look at some of Kat's examples in her book quickly. Go through, skip. Almost there. Ah, look at those colors. Those are just beautiful colors. And there's one more. Yes, so this one actually we took out of the book. We actually used this on the packaging of the registration press tool. And that is a beautiful spread where she used the stamp set all the way around, the beautiful border, the bird, the stencils in the background, even had a little bit of a water effect here. So just a beautiful flat piece from Kat. Love that one. And taking a look at what Pete created, I think I have one more. Of course, my little tab fell out. Let's see if I can find it, if we're just gonna, I see it. And again, using kind of the pieces in here, you don't have to use that big focal piece. You can use just some of the pieces. You can outline your art and just create, really nice variety in the look and feel. And lastly, we are going to look at Possibilitarian. So this is actually the set that I'm going to be demonstrating for you today. We open this up and take a look at what's inside. These are 3 different stencil sets. They get quite intricate in that phrase one. And that beautiful stamp set, there's that big, beautiful face and all these little elements that layer on top. I love the typography in the stamp set. And then, that cute butterfly. That's just a really nice set all to layer together. So let's take a look at some of the examples of this. You can see what Pete did here. Again, you can see that big, beautiful face and all the layering techniques that went into that. And then we can look at Kat's book. I am going to go into this in a little more detail when we demonstrate, but you can see just how beautiful the stamps and stencils work together and how you can get a completely different look and feel by using just a different color palette. And don't forget, guys, you can completely mix and match on these. You can take different sets from Vic and Kat and kind of mix and match them together. just to kind of get the most value and versatility in everything that you're creating with the whole Sizzix Studio range. So I am going to get started with my first stencil set, and I'm going to use this one. I'm going to hook my stencil converter onto my registration press. I'm going to put my stencil pegs into the stencil hole, and I actually just need to scoot my sketchbook over a little bit to make sure I'm painting in the middle of my book. And really, this is kind of meant to promote art journaling and kind of embrace that whole theory of wellness that's going on and is so popular and important right now. Art journaling, I think, could be a little intimidating, especially when you're talking about using paints and wet mediums. So being able to have such a set registration program, so you have that fear of intimidation is completely removed. You feel confident to put paint to paper and just start expressing yourself, was really the goal and why we approached the line in the way that we did. So let's take a look at some of the Sizzix tools that we're going to use to get started. The first thing we are looking at is our blending tool set. So this is our multi-tool set, and as usual, it has removable and interchangeable heads, and this is so great for working with different colors at the same time. You can get a versatile palette and kind of not have to go back and forth between paintbrushes. And I have to tell you, I'm so impressed with how nicely these foam heads work with a wet medium like acrylic and getting paint through the stencils. Some of our stencils, I'm going to tell you, are so intricate. I'll show you some examples after the demo. And I was even concerned when we developed this, is this foam head really going to get all this detail? It does, trust me. Let me show you. So I'm going to use this and just pick up a little bit of my Amsterdam acrylic. I have to tell you, this paint is just such high quality, top-notch acrylic paint. Royal Talens is just a top-tier brand of fine art quality in the industry, and you can absolutely tell when you start using their paint. So you don't even need any water to get started and dilute it. I actually advise to just use the paint directly onto the paper. It is so smooth and silky. It goes on without oxidizing. You don't get any bubbles. It doesn't dry too quickly. And you just simply, very similar to your inking technique where you go in circles, you just rub your paint through the stencils in the same way. And I've got this down. All right, one layer down. I'm going to take this off of my stencil converter, and I'm just going to set that aside. And I'm going to go to my next stencil layer. I'm not even going to let this dry, really. It just kind of takes care of itself. I'm going to clip this in, and I'm going to go grab my next range of colors. So working with paints is really fun because you can actually grab several different colors and start to blend on the go while you're working with the stencil. So I'm going to start out with some of this yellow, and I'm going to start at the top and start to blend down. These are some beautiful hearts that are layer over the numbers. I love combining the organic and geometric shapes together. I think that looks so nice compositionally. And now I'm going to get crazy and just grab some orange. And I'm going to start from the bottom, and you can see you can really do a nice job of blending these. It's really effortless. You can look like you're a professional painter just by going their traditional kind of inking method. And once you get that done, again, you can just pick this up. All right, 2 layers done. Very easy. And let's go to our third layer. Here we start to get into some of that intricacy that I mentioned, but you're not going to have any issue working with the blending head. But another tool in the program that I do want to share is fun for applying paint with stencils is our effects tool. And again, our effects tool, part of the multi-tool program, comes with 2 different palette heads and a brayer roller. The brayer roller I love because you can remove the head for easy cleaning. It has this little notch here that fits great with your finger. And the palette knives, 2 different sizes are good. I like to use this size for blending colors or getting medium out of a pot. And I like to use the larger palette knife for doing kind of splatter effects like that. So really useful tool. Again, having the dual-headed system just makes it very easy and convenient. So I'm going to use the smaller palette knife version, and I'm going to pick up some of this orange paint, and I'm going to show you how you can use this to also apply paint through your stencils. And this really gives you a different look and feel because you can get loads of texture. You can create that kind of dynamic look of depth And would take you a little bit longer to dry, obviously, than using the blending tool head, but you really get to enjoy that kind of painterly feel and scraping it across, all without too much of an effort. You can lift that up, and you can kind of see how cool that's starting to look. Just for the sake of being on video, I am just going to jump ahead and kind of grab some orange with my blending brush and finish this up. Again, you can see how nicely that blending head goes over even all those little intricate fallouts in the letters. Maybe grab a little bit more paint and just start to finish this up. I'm actually going to kind of blend a little bit to where I put on that Chunky Monkey paint layer, just to help it not stand out like it's on a different level. And that is about it for your stencils. That's our third stencil. I'll take this off. I would kind of want to run and, drop this in some water or give it a baby wipe just so the paint doesn't dry. I'm just going to have to let mine go for right now so we can continue filming stuff. But that's it. You can see you got your beautiful 3 layers. Very easily done with paint, which is so surprising that it went on so smoothly. And now we are going to get started with the stamps. What I love about working with this program and clear stamps is that they're see-through, obviously, but you can take the stamps and build up your own composition on your page without kind of having to work blindly. So I'm going to take off my carrier sheet and start to pick and choose which stamps I want to use and where I want to put them. So this beautiful kind of focal image I'm going to place here. There's some beautiful text options here. What else? Let's put this guy here. This one would look nice maybe here. Let's get that butterfly in there. And then let's see, one more thing to go there. I know that's Kat's favorite, the little heart swirl, so we'll put that right there. So now we've easily built up this composition, and you're going to come over to your registration press lid. Again, you have an etched side with a grid that helps you line stuff up, and you have the smooth side. The smooth side is what is going to pick up your stamps. And if you haven't seen this before, it's a really fun part where you put your hinge, or you put your lid into the hinge, and you can see it works just as it does on your normal base. And you bring this down, and you just lightly push, and magically, all of your stamps have picked themselves up, and you have your composition completely in place. So I'm going to scoot this down just so I can apply some paint onto the stamps. And we're kind of going to go through the same thing that we did earlier with the paint. Let's see, I'm going to squeeze a little bit more of this Amsterdam metallic out because it's one of my absolute faves. But we are going to use the blending tool set just to start applying some paint to the stamps. And again, when we started developing the program, I wasn't quite sure how this was going to work. Are these blending tool sets really the perfect thing to put paint onto your stamps? And I have to say, this in combination with the brayer tool works beautifully. You never want to take your stamp and dip it in paint. That's just going to give you a hot mess that nobody wants to see. So I'm going to start picking up some of my paint with the blending tool head. And I'm just going to apply it directly onto the stamps. So you can really just work the paint on top of your stamp like so. It's okay if it gets into the little pieces before, in between the raised shoulder areas, because really when you're done, you can just remove the whole lid itself and take it and run it under the faucet. I am going to say that I would probably advise to just paint in portions and not kind of do the whole thing at one time. But let's just kind of lower what we have, take a look at it, and then we can go from there. Set this down. So let's get the registration press back in place. We're going to lower our lid, and we're just going to kind of push down on the stamps just as you would if you were working with ink, and kind of get that paint to transfer on top of the 3 layers of stencils that we've already placed. Ooh, and you can see how pretty that paint transferred and how nicely that looks layered up. Let's get another color in there. Let's do some more. So I'm going to add just a little more paint. I think what is also beneficial about having your stamp stay in place is paint can be kind of volatile sometimes. It's not a perfect medium. So let's say, oh, I missed a couple spots on this stamp. No problem. You just lift up your lid, go back and add a little bit of paint, and it just corrects itself because everything stayed in place on your lid and your journal has stayed in place on your sticky grid sheet. So we're adding some more paint here, and now I'm going to get another color. I'm going to grab some blue. And just like we blended with our stencils, you can actually blend right on top of your stamps and get a really nice color gradation going. So I'm going to go ahead and add this like this. But you're not limited to the blending tool. I mentioned that the brayer also works really nicely for applying paint onto your stamps. And it's a little bit cleaner for somebody who's maybe not as messy as me because this actually sticks to the levels in your stamps that are raised as opposed to getting in all the crevices. So you can see maybe that's a little bit neater, but I kind of like to get it messy and make sure I have the real look of paint in there. So we'll get that going. I just want to add a little bit more of this bronze onto the face because I want to make sure that looks like it's really giving a nice ombre gradation effect. Come in here, maybe add a pop of blue onto these guys. Now, again, we'll just bring this down, close your lid, and push gently down, making sure all of that paint evenly transfers. And let's lift that up. Ooh, whoa, that looks so cool. Let's take this off so we can just show. So you can see how all of those intricate stamp lines have transferred beautifully with paint. Who would have thought that paint was even capable of doing that? So we have the 3 layers of stencils with the Amsterdam acrylics and then a complete layer of paint using the stamps, again with acrylics. And I have to say, these Art Creations journals that are part of the collaboration, we've had up to 8 layers of paint on these pages without seeing any kind of buckling or warping. So this is truly the best kind of medium to use with these paints for art journaling. And looking at my tools over here, there are a couple things that I just either forgot to mention or use in the demonstration. The first one being this maker's tape. So maker's tape is a really unique material because it masks and it goes down on paper and you can tear it off without it ripping any of your paper. I should have put it right across here if I wanted to keep my gutter clean. You can see that some of that stencil line spilled over to there. So usually I put a piece of maker's tape on there if you want to keep your other page clean. Our texture tool, again, this might be a familiar tool for some of you. It used to be mint in the Sizzix line. It is now gray as part of the Studio line. And it has a variety of different grooves on the side. So you can actually create unique textures, or you can use the flat side to rub paint across your stencils if you wanted to apply it that way. I have been using our Media Matte this whole time as my palette. This is a very nice sustainable option for palettes as it's reusable and washable, and it feels so luxurious and expensive even though it's not. It's just the high quality silicone. It has a non-slip background. It has these wells included in here where you can keep your paint all organized. And then this nice blending area on the side if you wanted to mix your color or have somewhere to roll out your paint. And finally, stencil converter strips. Now these are such a unique thing because these allow any stencil that you already have at home to be used with the system. There is a strip of adhesive here and you just peel that off, put that on your stencil that you already have at home, and that will allow you to hook on your stencils onto this stencil converter. So any stencil, any size you have at home can now be incorporated into this whole system. So that's an overview of the tools and accessories. Again, remember the registration press and the Hinge Adapter are key. But I'm really excited to kind of show you some of the additional projects and makes that we have, especially the ones that are using the same set that we just demonstrated. So we have, again, the set from Cat Kerr that we just made. I've actually got Cat Kerr's very own sketchbook here, and I'm going to go through some of these pages with you because what I love is that you can look that this is the same set that I've just demonstrated for you, but she's made it a full page spread, she's changed the palette, she's changed the composition. So you can really see there's such a variety in the looks that you're able to achieve just by changing some things around. And let's flip. Here we go again. A new palette, new composition, completely new look and feel. So just amazing, amazing variety and versatility. And some of the other sets in here, this is one that she's done. And again, you know, changing the composition and the color, completely new look and feel. Another one of our sets that uses the color wheel. Who doesn't love a good color wheel? Oh, I have that one upside down. And let's see, are there any more in here? Oh, of course, the Visitor. This is a beautiful, beautiful set. This stamp just, oh, let's look at the actual packaging on this one. So you can see this one, the stamp set is this beautiful corner set with this lovely typography and these little elements here. The stencils that go behind it really pair nicely with it. And again, just so many options with this. A couple of the other things that I want to show you, let's just pull all these guys over here and kind of look through them. So these are some of the designs that Pete, my friend Pete, has made. And a lot of these are using Vic Holland's designs, which is really nice to see. Vic Holland's actually has a set here that is the most intricate stencil set I have ever seen in my entire life. Let's just get that. This is an amazing compilation. So this is 3 layers of stencils that do this beautiful intricate set. I've never seen anything like this in my whole life, and I think the possibilities with that are absolutely amazing. And I do want to share that you do have options, again, to go beyond art journaling and sketchbooks. We have some cards here, again, made by my friend Pete. So you can see how these can transition into flat pieces of art or cards, if that's what you wish. A lot of them even have phrases and sentiments included in them that are perfect for art journaling, but do work as great messages on cards. And then some of the other pieces I've made, so these are made with actual stencils that are not part of the studio line. And just to show you how all stencils can work using those stencil converters and can be used in a flat format or can be used on a very thick canvas to give you a nice home decor piece. This one is great because it has so much texture in it. We use some of the modeling paste from Royal Talens and actually use the stencil to help mask the paint for the modeling paste, and then I went back and added it again to add some of the metallics. So it goes way beyond just, using it as a step 1, 2, 3 to layer paint, so you can use it for techniques, which is beautiful. Some of the other pieces, again, using on nice big canvases, just shows you how the possibilities with Sizzix Studio, especially combining with Royal Talens, are absolutely endless. And I think my favorite part of this program, it's just that everybody is an artist. The fact of using the registration press with the stencils and the stamps all together takes away the intimidation factor, takes away the fear of putting paint to paper, kind of promises a precisely polished result each and every time, regardless of your experience or skill set. I've enjoyed developing it and using it, and I can't wait to see what you guys do with it at home. I'm Jen Long. Thanks so much for watching.